Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Ministry Moments. Each Friday at 3 o'clock Central Time, Lord willing, I'll join you and then try to discuss some things that not just for preachers, not just for pastors, but for Christians and everyday life and everyday living. When you decide to do something for God, you're going to find out there's opposition. And when there's opposition, don't be shocked, don't be surprised at it. Brother Rice used to say, as much as I pluck the tail feathers of the devil, no wonder he's mad at me. And so I remember one time they said about J. Frank Norris, somebody said, 95% of Fort Worth hates you. He said, name me somebody else that 95% of Fort Worth knows. And I like that. But today, and by the way, join me at the end of this will be a brief broadcast. And by the way, subscribe. My IT man says we get to 100. I don't know what, there's something special about that 100 number, but if you'll subscribe on there, we'll every Friday, 3 o'clock Central Time, you'll be able to join us on our own YouTube channel for our YouTube broadcast of Ministry Moments. And very practical, very helpful, succinct and brief and to the point. So get ready, get your pens out, we'll write some things down. We're going to talk to you about conflicts today because it's impossible to have all these moving parts in a ministry and a family and a job and a church or whatever without there eventually being conflicts, because we're all different. We all have different likes and dislikes. And if we're not careful, it'll allow a burr to be put under our saddle and misrepresent each other and cause more trouble than Carter's got liver pills. You haven't heard that in a long time, have you? I'm not sure who Carter is, and I'm not sure about the liver pills. But let me give you some things here. Number one, don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe everything you hear. I'm talking about conflicts now. You get yourself in serious trouble if you have an ear that believes everything that is said or that is read or that is written. You've got to be careful. When you jump too quick and you pull the trigger too quick, you're liable to do damage that you'll never be able to repair. Number two, be patient like a father. Be patient like a father. You allow your children to make mistakes and you help them to learn from those mistakes and to grow, then you need to do that with others who are involved in your ministry, your bus route, your Sunday school class, superintendent, maybe that department, whatever it might be. So talking about conflicts now, how to handle those conflicts. Number one, don't believe everything you hear. Number two, be patient like a father. Number three, be gentle yet firm. Put pedal the brakes, tap the brakes a little bit, tap them, because you're not quite sure yet how this conflict is going to end up. So you better tap them. You be gentle yet firm, and saying, I've got to have more information. I used to walk down the hallway at church and somebody say something to me, and my first answer was no. Because don't ask me things in the hallway. I've got other things on my mind. I'm moving from one meeting to another meeting, but I'll write it on a 3x5 card. And when I meet with you, then I'll give me a chance to look at it and study it and to make sure I make the right decision. So number one, don't believe everything you hear. That's a good principle to live by. Number two, be patient like a father. It's not over. My dad used to say, even when the fat lady sings, it's not over. Number three, be gentle yet firm. Number four, in your counseling, always leave them with hope. Always leave the people with hope. When you get ready to correct a conflict, help somebody with the conflict. And by the way, there's their story and the truth in between somewhere. So in counseling, always leave them with hope. Don't discard people because they have bad judgments or they make mistakes. Don't do that. If we win people to Christ who are headed for hell and their lives are a mess, we get them into church, baptize them, get them into church and preach the devil out of them, hopefully. But then they fall again. Well, what are we supposed to do? Galatians 6:1 says, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one. So your job is to help them get back on feet, just like it was to get them saved so they weren't headed for hell. You don't want them to live in hell. All right, talk about conflicts now. Conflicts come because all have sinned and come short of the glory of God, and there's always going to be those conflicts. So number one, don't believe everything you hear. Number two, be patient like a father. Number three, be gentle yet firm. Number four, always leave them with hope. Number five, teach principles that will produce policies. Teach Bible principles that will produce policies. Excuse me. In every church ministry, there ought to be policies that are derived from Bible principles. Same thing's true with your Christian school. If you have a college like we had, or you have a Bible institute or bus ministry or Sunday school or whatever it is that you have, then you make sure that you teach Bible principles that produce policies. Eventually, you want to be able to say in a meeting when conflicts are brought up, what does our policy say? We've visited this before. There's no sense to reinvent the wheel. So what is our policy based on past history that we've discovered from the Bible principles about this issue? Number one, don't believe everything you hear. Number two, be patient like a father. Number three, be gentle yet firm. Always leave them with hope. Teach Bible principles that produce policies. We had a policy book for missions. We had IBWM for missions, our own missions board. So we had policies for that. Policies for our day school. Policies for our preschool. Policies for our Christian school. Policy for our church, our bus kids school. And then a policy for staff, a policy for music. We had all these different binders that we, through the years, had learned Bible principles that helped us to produce policies. So those policies made our decisions. Listen to this. The less decisions you have to make, the better the decisions you'll make. The less decisions you have to make, the less mistakes you will make. Next, bad positions, not bad people, is usually the problem. Bad positions, not bad people, is usually the problem. When you have conflicts, somebody's just not suited for that position. You put them there. Now, don't just fire him and out of there because you both made a mistake. They made a mistake. You made a mistake. There's no sense in them bearing the brunt of all of the bad decision that was made in this positioning. So bad positions, not bad people, is usually the problem. Next, take your time. Be patient. Give people time. This ministry that you've grown up with, or this Sunday school superintendent's position, or bus division, or whatever it might be, or as a pastor, you've grown up in the church. Well, you grew with it. These are people coming in. They're not coming in at the same level that you're at as somebody who's handled it all the time. So be patient, take your time. Next, get both sides of every story. Get both sides of every story. There are two sides, as I said, and then there's truth somewhere in the middle. And so before you kill somebody, before you destroy somebody on social media, I'd suggest that you get both sides of the story. And I would always want to defend the attack. Next, do not use social media to vent. Don't go on social media. Don't air your dirty laundry in front of the whole nation for everybody to see it. First of all, not everybody's going to see it. You think everybody looks at your tweets and your Facebook and all that. You think that's your claim to fame, but they don't much care. You think they do, but they don't. But do not use social media to vent. Don't do that. Don't air your dirty laundry in front of a whole nation. Next, if laws are broken, call the police. It's so simple. I don't know why we make such a big deal out of this, but if laws are broken, call the police. I've been in my office a dozen times plus. And here's a mom. Here's a child. Here's the dad. And the dad did something wrong, sexually wrong. I got the stories. I picked up the phone then and I called the police. And there was a dear Christian man who was a sergeant at the local police department that I would call and I would say, I have an issue. I believe somebody's broken the law here. Would you come? He would come, walk into the room, and then he would interview everybody and then make a decision whether the law is broken or not. You see, you have to understand, Pastor, you're responsible. If you know something's a law is broken, especially if it's molestation or something like that, you better make sure that the police are called. I've done it throughout the years and continue to do it. And it's exactly what you ought to do. It's not a matter of covering up sin. The truth is Jesus covered up all your sins with his blood. But it's not a matter of covering up sins. It's a matter of making restitution. It's a matter of making things right. And things have to be made right. That's what a just person is. The scales are balanced. And when they're not balanced, they have to be balanced. And sometimes it's beyond my pastoral position, my area. This is a law. It's beyond me. I'm not the police. I'm the pastor. And I don't want them telling me what Bible to use in Sunday school. And I'm not going to tell them what laws they ought to enforce. Not going to do that. Now, please understand that if a law is broken, you pick up the phone and you call the police and let them know. Well, this has been Ministry Moments. Thank you for joining me. And every Friday, 3 o'clock Central Time, if you'll tune in to the YouTube channel for Solve Church Problems and find Ministry Moments, then you'll be able to subscribe. And I hope that you do. This way it will come directly to you every week. Very practical, very helpful. But I'm glad that you joined me today. And I want you to join me every Friday, if you will, please, 3 o'clock Central Time. God bless you.